Hi everybody, it's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. Don't you do
that. Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, are these two guys. Guy number one.
That's Nicholas Buckland. I'm Joe Lalich. We don't know what order to go in. Who knows?
Exactly. We never know.
So there you go.
We're just both sitting here going, someone speak, someone speak.
Yeah, please, somebody say something.
Am I guy number one or is he guy number one? Am I guy number one or is he guy number one?
Next episode, you need to have a little letter taped to your head.
Thing one, thing two.
I just have number 2 written on my head, which is...
Who does number 2 work for?
That's not good.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let that joke write itself.
That's right. Welcome to the episode, everyone. Boy, we've been gone for a long time, and it seems like every time we come back and do an episode, I say, boy, we've been gone for a long time.
But this time we really mean it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been probably going on, once this airs, close to a month since we released an episode, and but we had a lot of stuff going on, family stuff over Christmas break, and a lot of dealing with the Ace record, and just a million different things going on. So we took a much-needed break, and we are back. So happy 2020, everybody.
Yeah.
First episode of the new decade.
It's way too
exactly.
late for that. It's way too late. I mean, we're over 2 weeks into the year. It's way too late for Happy New Year. At what point do we stop saying that? We all please just stop it. Just stop it.
Wasn't it Larry David that remember when Larry David went to Ben Stiller's birthday party and he found out it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he goes like, at what point are you allowed to still have your birthday? Well, my birthday's in February. Can I celebrate it in August?
Yeah, whenever I want. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, whenever I want. Yeah. It's like, it was a few months ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, anyway, on this episode, guys, we're going to do a fun one, an easy one. Not much research involved. We're going to do skip or play. We haven't done a skip or play in a while. I don't remember what the last skip or play was. Was it Peter Criss?
Oh, yeah.
It was Peter Criss.
I remember which one it was.
This one won't be nearly as controversial as Peter Criss.
I'm trying to still get those Sonics rinsed from my brain. My God.
Oh.
I've been listening to good music.
Joe wakes up in the middle of the night and he just hears, yo, this is New York.
Yeah.
Wake up all sweaty.
I couldn't sleep at all last night. Just thinking about you. Baby, things weren't right. 'Cause I was tossing and turning.
I have to listen to good music. I've been listening to good music since that episode to get that washed out of my...
Oh, man.
To cleanse my
We've
palate.
missed Joe.
Yeah.
So, anyway, skip or play Dress to Kill. Should be pretty easy. Not very controversial.
Can I say one thing? I pulled out the 2014 one that you got for me. And I must admit, every single time I pull it out, I think that weird kind of... I don't know if you guys are the same. Every time it's kind of like something in the background, and I always think it's a scratch on my cover. I quickly look for like a scuff, and it's actually something in the back of the street. And I don't know why it does that to me every single time.
So interestingly enough, I think we've had this conversation before. I don't know if it was on air or off air, but every time, Nicholas, if you can hold that up again, or maybe we'll flash it up. Gene's shoe, I always thought that was a spike on the end of his clog. And I was like, oh, he's such a badass. He's got a spike on the end of his 1970s clogs. And it turns out that it's
Didn't we do a remastered Wax episode?
Yeah. We may have talked about it down there.
That's where we talked about that, yeah.
But even when you look at it, you go, there's a few things, like obviously I remember they were Bill of Coins clothes, but if you actually have a look at it, Gene's heels are actually sticking out the back of the clogs. Like his feet are way too big for these things. Right. And also, if you were going to do this album cover, it's really weird to have. We'll show it up on screen so I don't have to shine the light on it. But Gene's got the biggest grin ever. It's kind of a weird sort of a... You would have thought they would have taken another shot of that. Like, you just accept that as the album cover, but it's an odd, like, it's like an outtake where he's gone, kind of thing like that.
And the other thing too that's interesting about it is the band is trying to cement its look, through the stage show and all this stuff, and then they're going to put him on an album cover in suits. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be something that they could have done, after maybe Destroyer or Rock and Roll Over or Alive 2 or Dynasty, something like way later when everybody goes, okay, we know what they look like and that sort of thing. Or it's just interesting that was a decision. That decision would never be made today. It's like it would be all about, it's got to be about brand,
Right.
Right. So
Interesting. Well, excuse me, before we get into the Skipper Play part of the episode, and before we get into showing new stuff and talking about certain new things, just quick plugs. Follow us or join our groups, Facebook, Kiss My Collectibles and Kiss My Wax. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. What's funny?
Was it a hair plug?
Quick plug, headphones. I always just touch my hair.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was going to be a hair plugs joke. I just loved that neither of us could control ourselves.
Because I remember being really paranoid when I was in my 20s, because when you have red hair and stuff, like that, a lot of ginger people lose their hair, and my friend could always get me. He'd always walk past me and just be standing past me and go, I think you're going bald. It's like, and I'm going, really? I was like, I've made it to 45 and it's still here, which is lucky. But it just comes off in 4 pieces. So yeah,
It just comes off in 4 feet.
Yeah, and there's like steam. It's like Schwarzenegger's mask in Total Recall when that lady's face. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's my hair.
Oh, God. Anyway, Jason, sorry.
Oh, I don't care. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. What is that? YouTube.com/KissMyCollectibles. Yes. And then ring that bell so you get notified of new episodes. You can follow us on Instagram at KissMyCollectibles or Twitter at KM Collectibles. Head over to our Patreon, give us some money because Nicholas needs new hair plugs.
I mean, look at it.
Look at it. And then finally go over to Click T Shop and buy some of our T-shirts and swags and stuff like that. Click T Shop with a K. So that's it for the plugs. Not Nicholas's plug.
No.
That's it for the plug.
And so we dovetail right into what's in the box.
What's in the box?
I'm going to open it.
Oh, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
What is in the box? Who's going first? I'll go first. I got something small. Something small.
That's what she said.
That's right. I promise. That's exactly what she said.
Yeah. So shiny. That's awesome.
So I got this logo belt buckle. It's from 77 or 78, Nicholas. It's 78, right?
What does it say?
78. So this is... I'm missing like all of these belt buckles. There's at least 2 versions of this, right, with different colors. Hell, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd have to go back to the book, but yeah, I think there's a silver and a gold version.
Yeah.
And I know that the gargoyle has the most because the gargoyle's eyes go from I think silver to red, and it might be a gold or something in there. So yeah, but that's so cool. I love that. And look at the quality of that. Well, not quality, but condition of that. That's super shiny.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's got a few scuffs on it when you're up close to it, but yeah, it's a pretty nice one. But anyway, for the listeners, it's a Pacifica logo from 1978, or Pacifica belt buckle from 1978. Has the logo, and it kind of has the swirl. This one is more like red and gold. There's a few logo versions like this, and I don't have any of these. I have all of the belt buckles that have, like Destroyer Love Gun, what we call the solo belt buckles, and all. What is that?
Has it been that long? It's my clock. Remember, I've got a giant flip clock in my studio.
I thought I left my toaster trimmer on again. Yeah.
Hang on.
I think we had that exact situation in another episode.
Yeah. The time is now 20 to 10. It's like...
Oh, God, that's funny.
Jeez. Oh, boy.
All right, what'd you go get, Joe?
I got this. Remember, I told you a friend of mine found it at a flea market. $3. 3 whole dollars. So, yeah.
I know those are not official, right, Nicholas?
No.
This one isn't?
But
no.
Wait.
But it's cool.
Hang on.
Joe says, hang on.
He's quit the show.
Mother!
How about that one?
That is definitely
official.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely official. You can see the difference in the KISS logo too.
Then this is going to be the one that I pretend my friend got me for $3 at a flea market.
Edit this bit now.
No.
I mean this one.
Yeah, I honestly, between the two, I think it was this one that he. I think it was this one because it didn't. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually think it was this one that he got me.
But what's interesting about those, Joe, is they are pretty sought after by a lot of vintage collectors. It's a vintage bootleg. Yeah. And it's not something made modern day or anything like that. It's a vintage bootleg, and there's a ton of different designs of that kind of style right there that people definitely go at.
They've kind of been welcomed into the vintage collecting scene. They may not be official. There's also a few, and I know I've got one in the KISS room somewhere, which is like little pendants in the exact same design, like a little round one.
Yeah.
It's exactly that KISS with those stars on it as well. So whatever the company was that just pumped them out.
So what's the telltale sign that this was a bootleg from back in the day? Do we?
It's not the correct KISS logo. You can actually look at it. It's not exactly correct, and it doesn't have any your coin markings on it or anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, gotcha.
Well, that's what we think anyway. I mean, nothing's 100%. Is it things that we're always learning new things? So,
right.
But it's thought that they're not official, but they're highly sought after. So you've got yourself a great piece there. Anyway.
They really, and for $3, man, you can't go wrong. Yeah. And at some point in time, once I get through, all of these variants, which these belt buckles are generally, at minimum $200 all the way up to $400. It on eBay these days. It's crazy. Once I finally get through all of these, I will definitely chase those down because I think they're pretty great looking. They're not too shabby, and there are some vintage bootlegs or vintage counterfeits or however we want to refer to them that, like Nicholas said, that's kind of been welcomed into the family of vintage collections that I would like to have. It's kind of like on the wax side, the vinyl side of things, how we welcome the Turkish Elder.
Exactly, that was the one I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Clearly counterfeit. We absolutely all of the South Korean stuff.
Oh yeah.
Much of the Indonesian stuff, all of that stuff is counterfeit, but it's so scarce, and some of it is really cool and different that we welcome it. It's not something made modern day that somebody can just go in their basement and print off. There's a plethora of counterfeit and bootleg belt buckles on eBay right now that people are just pumping out.
What other?
But I think. Oh, sorry, I was going to say with that Turkish Elder stuff, it's bootleg in the fact that it's not officially licensed by KISS, but it's not the same way as today where some guy goes away and makes a fan-made copy and we want to see this. Right. That was obviously them going, we haven't got any rights and we don't want to circumnavigate, paying anyone, and they would just pump it out in that country, wouldn't they? So it's they are still bootleg, but they're kind of almost, there's two versions of what a bootleg is in that kind of realm, isn't there?
What other things in the merchandise realm can you name 2 or 3 things quickly that are welcomed in, that are counterfeits or bootlegs or whatever?
Can you not?
I can't remember.
Of course you can. Yeah, I definitely and of course, there's been big debate, but over, with Nicholas's research, we get into the mechanical. What is it? Mechanical?
Yes, the mirrors, the mechanical mirror works. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, so you had this company which had all the 12 mirrors, and they put out a brochure saying. So they'd obviously made these mirrors, and you can tell on the brochure, which will show up now, they don't have any KISS logos on anything. Now, Coin would then contact them and say, hey, you're selling this. Can you now come on? We'll which is their method. They used to make them official. They say, pay us I've got documentation where they say, pay us $20,000, and now you can make official mirrors. And they obviously signed off on Love Gun and Destroyer, which we'll show here, and they added the logos to them. But if you look at their brochure, which doesn't have any KISS logos, it says, we've signed on with KISS, this is all our range. And I know a few people have received their mirrors. I know our friend John Hadges JH Palace has received his copy, and he got one of these mirrors in a blank cardboard box with the stamp or coin on it, which some people still think that that's them just trying to flog off their unofficial mirrors. But we look at them as unofficial mirrors by a company which ended up getting the license to do 2 official mirrors. So that's where those kind of sit. So they've a lot of collectors still collect them. I know John Five has collected the whole set, and a few other people collect those ones. But they're kind of, you can kind of tell that they wouldn't have released something which doesn't have a KISS logo on it, and terrible drawings on them too. Yeah, I mean, that's one of them. So, I mean, I don't reckon that would have passed their quality test back in the day to actually become a live thing. Yeah. So not official, but still collectible because they were made by a company which made official mirrors. If that makes sense.
So you can get the Destroyer and Love Gun mirrors. You can find them both with and without the logos, with and without the stamp. So so it's an interesting bit of collecting, and me personally, I remember growing up and seeing a couple of those mirrors. I think a lot of those might have even ended up in carnivals and fairs and stuff. Don't you think, Nicholas? Like them just
definitely.
stock,
yeah, just they need to get rid of them. Yeah. The other thing was some of those early posters. Now, is it the Campus Cruft? I think I've got documentation on that one, and they definitely were fined $20,000. That was the one I was talking about. And then they made them officials. They went on to produce all those Canadian posters. But I think their early ones were unofficial. And I've got a feeling, is it one of the jumbos? Is it that big white Alive jumbo? There's a jumbo which is white background.
There is one like that.
And I think
that's a Campus Craft, right?
I got a feeling that one is unofficial. I could be totally wrong, but there's something. Somebody will correct us online. Just write the comments below and tell me which one I actually meant, or I could edit in another bit where I'm wearing a different clothes. Going, what I mean is no, but I don't remember right now. So I'm thinking in my mind it might have been that big giant white Alive, and that was made by Campus Craft. They later became an official maker of KISS posters, but at that stage it didn't have any logos or anything on them. And we have the documentation saying you've transgressed, but if you pay us some cash, you can now make official ones.
That's right.
So it's interesting how that went, back in the day.
And I think that whole conversation dovetails nicely into what I have to show this week, which was there was a bit of interest online over an eBay seller who was showing selling new old stock jumbo Alive posters. And everybody started wondering, gosh, can this be real? Can this still be happening this many years later? You're 50 years, on essentially from when this was all going down.
Kill me now.
What's that?
Kill me now. 50 years later.
Yeah, it's crazy. But look how good we all look.
You two, maybe, not me.
Yeah. Anyway, so there was some discussion in the groups about, are these real? How can they be real? How are these things found?
Right.
And I ironically, at this very same time, I had seen somebody, I think in our groups, I think in collectibles, selling a poster, and I hit you up, Jason, and I said, "Oh, do you have that post? Because I've decided to buy it." And I think it was the next day, and it was a very nice looking, version of that poster, right? And as we all know, I'm kind of into the more mint, or as close to mint as possible when I'm collecting. So I was going to buy it, and then that went away, And I said to Jason, hey, if you ever see one or if you see, let me know. Then this guy pops up on eBay, and I think, Jason, you sent me the link and said, hey, this guy looks like he has new old stock. And he even seemed to have, like, tiers of new old stock, like ultra mint perfect versions, one that were somewhat, damaged or wrinkled or maybe creased or whatever. So then in the groups, people started commenting, is this real? There was some discussion, and I think, Nicholas, you can probably take over the story from here because you started to question what's going on here. And we all should, right, be wary of something that all of a sudden pops up, and there seems to be, multiple copies of something that,
Well, I was kind of passing it on because a guy called Walter, I can't pronounce his last name because I don't do last names.
Is it Ruther?
It's why that's why my Ruth, that's it. Yeah, that's why my favorite artist is Sharon Madonna. But he sort of contacted me and was showing me that he thought this thing might be a fake. This guy suddenly had all these old copies, and there was the missing C, which will show you. Did you show that before? I can't remember. I wasn't paying attention.
No.
Did you show the copyright thing?
Yeah.
So you can see here that there's a copyright thing missing off the 1976 part, which some copies actually do have. So that was going, wait, how does this guy have these mint copies, lots of them all found, and with something missing? The logo didn't look as old. So I thought I may as well share it with the group and just bring this up. I did have people contact me going, that's it, I'm cancelling my order. I'm not going to say who they are, and I'm going, oh, wait, I didn't mean it was definitely unofficial. I'm just saying I think we should always, if we find out discrepancies, we should always bring this to the front in the group because that's what collecting is about, sharing information. So
healthy skepticism and making sure that everybody's protected because we've broadcast eBay, auctions that we know to be fake. Right, and said, hey, everybody beware, or this guy's doing a ton of this, or, whatever. So it's just sort of a public service. So, I mean,
this guy has sold 67 Tiger record players in the past 2 years.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
But I mean, and this seller did have another account where he is selling some posters of varying degrees of legitimacy as well, apparently. So, but I mean, apparently, you've got it. You're holding it in your hands. What do you think? What's your appraisal? You've been in print for a long time, so you would know.
Yeah, I mean,
what you're holding.
I've had multiple copies of this in my lifetime, and for some reason have gotten rid of them. And I don't know. I go through a phase where I'll be like, why do I have? I mean, look how big it's massive. I don't remember what the measurements are on them. Do you remember right offhand? Is it
3 foot by 5 foot?
3 foot by 5 foot. So
close enough.
So they're massive. So they're hard to display. We've all talked about, or I've shown in past episodes, how I keep posters in a big top loader and then in kind of a display holder kind of a thing where you can. And there's not one to my knowledge, or I haven't found one yet that's this big that'll hold that. So it's just kind of like, oh, it sits there. Anyway, I just got, I thought, oh, maybe this is something that I would frame and maybe put someplace. So I got it.
How many jumbos are there? Is it 4 or 5 jumbos? Do you think in total there are 3 in total? How many jumbo Kiss jumbo?
What's the other jumbo? There are? There's 3.
That's what he's asking. How many are there?
How many there are?
He's asking how many
sorry, I was just asking how many there are. Is it 3?
There's 3 if you don't count that Dynasty one that came out in the 80s or whatever.
I had that on my bedroom door, actually. That was a great one. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I still have that poster too, but as far as the 70s vintage jumbos, there's 3. There's the Alive.
That White Alive. The White Alive as well. Yeah.
But if you want to count that, I mean, I look at that as a variant of this poster here, because it's the same poster, right? It's just, I think it's like actually slightly smaller and it's got a white border around it, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, it's a cream border instead of the black, yeah.
But anyway.
So in any event, I went ahead and bought this, not seeing the back and forth in the groups, bought it, had it on its way to me, and people were saying, oh, the guy packaged them poorly. He was taking 2 tubes and taping them together, and they were getting bent, and this, that, and the other. And then Nicholas chimes in and says, oh, wait a minute, is this the copyright? And Walter, and I'm like, well, great, now I'm holding, And I had the same, instinct to just go, oh, well, I'm going to get it and look at it and send it back because I'm going to know that it's fake.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I know what I know what the paper feels like and all that stuff. I got to tell you, this thing, for all the world to me, anyway, in my opinion, seems to be legit. It's got that old paper kind of feel. It's got the same tooth that I remember the posters having, because they were very specific. Like, I can remember, it's not just like a flat piece of paper. It almost has like a little bit of a weird sandpapery kind of tooth to it. I mean, it's very fine, but there's still a tooth. So anyway,
and Jason, you were saying your copy also is missing the copyright as well, isn't it?
Right. The question was, how are these legit? Did they leave out the copyright sign in the Photoshop file or whatever? And then Alan Mooney was the first one to post his. Alan Mooney has had his jumbo poster since I think he said 77 or 78. And it's the same poster, and his does not have a copyright. And then lo and behold, I went and looked at mine, which I've had about 20 years as well. Is that in the spot? Yeah, and mine does not have the copyright either. Of course, there were people in the group that was also saying, and I also want to say that it wasn't just collectibles. There was a thread in collectibles about it. There's also a thread over in Shane McManus's KISS poster group as well. But there were people that were saying that their copies had the C. So it's an interesting variant.
It's interesting. So here's another thing, Jason. You just held yours up, and I took a look. So there's a registration issue right here. I don't know if you can see it. So can you see that on screen? Where it gets blacker, where the photo is overlapping the other black there.
The black.
And I think yours has the same thing, Jason. When you held it up, doesn't yours have that same sort of black overlap on that side of the poster? Yeah. So that's not. It's also. Go ahead.
It's got a heavy black. Right. You can't. Right. I know exactly where you're.
So that would not be something that would be able to be replicated. I mean, if you're doing this in Photoshop today and you were going to go and scan all this stuff in, that through the miracle of modern digital science, that stuff would mostly go away unless you were so. You would have to be so on your game to realize that was misregistered. The other thing I remembered, and people were commenting in the groups about, it also has a registration mark, and there's no way that they would have had a register mark. And everybody take a look. So there's mine and there's Jason. So there's the registration mark, which is
and these weren't bought at the same time, which kind of shows you like if yours was bought a long time ago, and it's showing the same thing.
Well, and I also remembered mine, and again, your mind does. It plays tricks on you when you see things and you're trying to either convince yourself one way or the other. But I could have sworn I remembered that the ones that I had before also had the register mark on them. And if those of you don't know, that's where it should be trimmed. That's where the poster should be trimmed. So somehow during the printing of these, it shifted a little bit and it missed the blade, and it came down a little bit lower, and that register mark is actually still there. Or it could be a printer's mark. It could be a remnant of a printer's mark or some sort of a slug that the printer had there.
What text does yours have on the left? Opposite side of the copyright.
Exclusive distributors, One Stop Posters, 2619 Exposition Boulevard. It almost looks like there's a space, and then the comma, and then a space, L period, A period, comma, space, California, CA 90018, KISS number 7.
Yeah, I just asked that because, when you get into the later posters, 77, 78-ish, especially like the Alive 2 posters, the individual shots, those were released by, multiple different places. It would be Boutwell or CNC, Eureka Lithograph, all of that. So I was wondering if there was a difference there, but it seems to be exactly the same. So it's interesting how some of those have that copyright symbol and some of them don't.
And we've all run into it in the business where we go, if we're doing a second printing and we forgot the copyright, or, oh my gosh, as we're running these for the next press run, let's make sure we get that in there, or, something like that could easily have happened.
Sure.
Yeah, just a matter of ordering more, and they just decide to fix it up.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So did this come first? Did it come second? And I guess there's really no way to know. Did they?
I bet that came first.
That would be my instinct, because they would go, oh God, we got to add that now, or who knows what. But so anyway, interesting little bit of sleuthing going on out there, and I think it's always wise at this point especially with the prices doing what they're doing, for everybody to be wary when something like this comes up. And again, this is my opinion on it. Your mileage may vary. You may think that we're all, crazy, and how could there be new old stock? It's got to be out. It could be out there somewhere. There could be warehouses full of this stuff somewhere that nobody's. Not only KISS collectibles, but everything.
The most important question that we have not addressed, though, is how does it smell?
It's interesting. It doesn't smell like old musty paper. So that again, does that lead one to think that maybe this really is new old stock? It was somewhere in a box someplace. If it was in a warehouse and up on a shelf and out of the light and not in somebody's dank basement, which is where it would get that moldy smell. If it was in a climate-controlled place, who knows? But yeah, trust me, it's one of the tests.
It could be sealed and completely airtight, almost, for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah. 50 years, Nicholas. 50. Almost.
No, but the poster's not 50, is it? What year is that? 76.
45.
Yeah.
46.
Now I feel old.
That's why I said kill me now.
Well, and we're all very close to Kiss Alive 50, right? When Kiss does their 50th anniversary tour.
Wow.
What do you got, Nicholas?
Got a couple of things. The first one I've showed on the group, but I'll show for anyone who hasn't seen it. This is just an upgrade, so I'll get rid of my old one.
Did you hear him, Jason? It's just an upgrade. Because one little piece had a little bent corner. That's all that's different, right, Nicholas?
Yeah. I had to trim that corner off. So.
Right.
No.
Yeah. No. So this is obviously it's the Kiss Dynasty thing, and mine wasn't very complete before. This one is quite cool because it has both transparencies in there.
For those of you listening and not watching, it's
this is why okay.
For those of you listening and not watching, Nicholas just dropped his priceless
everything
out, and it's gone from near mint to now, not so much.
Sort of.
Anyway, so Nicholas has the.
Now let me pick him up. Hang on a sec.
Don't roll your chair back. Don't roll your chair anywhere.
This thing had a couple of exactly. So I'll show you what came in this one. And
Sorry, hang on 1 second. This is for those of you listening. This is the Kiss Dynasty press kit that Nicholas has bought as an upgrade to his previous copy.
Yeah. So this one has in it a Kiss Army, obviously just lying around in the office. I'll see if I can hold it up to the light. You can see the like an iron-on.
Iron-on,
yeah. This one had like a article in it. I'm showing you the more standard stuff as I go, and it will get better and better.
So is that a photocopy, Nicholas, or is that?
No, it's real.
Gosh,
it's
that
old and slightly yellowed and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, because it looks.
It's obviously they've reprinted this. In the Casablanca.
From back then.
So this comes from a Casablanca employee to obviously a record station. I've got at some point someone's got this signed. So I've got a Gene Simmons autograph and an Ace Frehley autograph.
Hey, on this.
The Ace Frehley looks like an old autograph.
Yeah, that's an old one. Yeah.
You know what that means, Jason? It's fake.
Of course.
But this seemed to kick around in the very early press kits, and this doesn't feel. And even the pictures are all quite old in it. So I don't know how this ended up, but a lot of times stuff was laying around. This is definitely old. It's got a very vintage smell. It hasn't got that super shiny thing. So it's the latest photo at the time. And then this is where it starts to get interesting. After you've got the bio here, which came out. And then you start getting some writing on this stuff. You've got for immediate release. You've got a bio for the group up to double platinum, which the employee's written on there. And then you start getting some recording plugs for 1979 radio. Date Thursday, September 20, 8 p.m. Roberts Stadium. Tickets on sale, mail order, and see when it's being recorded. They've written on there. And then you've got this, say, thing of the gig at the Lakeland Civic Centre, Nantucket, which is quite cool in there. And then a little note from this Casablanca employee, which is from someone called B. Frankel. And she said that Kiss will be appearing at Roberts Stadium Wednesday, September 19th. I'll call you on Tuesday when you return from vacation and make plans for an advanced phone interview or concert review. So that's an employee letter to the person. I've got a Paul Stanley pick from the tour.
Wow.
And also 2 complimentary tickets to go see the gig for the employee. So obviously the employee didn't take it up on the offer. Didn't go because it was Kiss. But yeah, they got two tickets mint that came in there to that exact concert. The Lakeland Civic Centre, $10, June 15, 1979. So you can see why I don't normally do upgrades, but this thing was too good. So I'll be getting rid of my other one, which has just got the standard stuff, but this has got all the cool Casablanca stuff in it. So that's really nice.
The Lakeland Civic Center. What state was the show in?
Lakeland, Florida.
That's the first show. We had the bootleg audio of the rehearsals for that particular show.
Yeah.
That's
and
excellent.
she told me she had the original Return of Kiss tour book to give me, and I said, no, I don't want it. No,
okay. Yeah, no. Something's wrong with the cover on that one.
My second thing, Ian, is quite interesting.
Wouldn't it have been awesome if all 3 of us went with the Return of, like, she had 3 of them. Yeah.
Exactly. That would have been amazing. Now, this thing here, I've been waiting to open this because this came a few weeks ago, and I thought we were recording, but then we kept cancelling. So this is a little package, and it's got little cute little koalas here. So it must have come from Australia. And it's by I won't cover his address. Mr. Dave Scott has sent it to me. So
boo! We know it's gonna suck.
You think? But so he was sharing some badges, and on the Facebook groups, and I said, "Wow, you've got 2 of those things." And he goes, "Do you want one?" I go, "Oh, well, how much do you want me to pay you? I've been looking for this for 10 years." And he goes, No. I'll just send it to you. So what we have here is, I have been looking at this for a very long time. This comes in some little box thing. Oh, we keep going. This is a real lie. I haven't seen this, so... Oh, it's his tooth from the Tooth Fairy. No, it is... This is great. This is amazing and so rare to find. The Super Trooper badge from 1981 that came out with the British Kiss fan club.
Wow, that's
unbelievable.
These are really super hard to find. And Dave just gave it to me because I said, "Oh, well, you got 2," and he said, "Do you want it?" Okay.
That's weird. I didn't hear anything about it. Did you, Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Right.
Look at that. That's sensational. So you could get, basically, you got the Super Trooper badge if you joined the Kiss Army. And I believe it's one or the other. I can't remember which one. Then if you got a friend to join, you got the other one, which was the Kiss Army Sergeant one, which was gold. So there are 2 badges from this era. Yeah. So I'm super happy about that. That's been a 10-year journey to try and find this thing.
Is this where we intercut? We don't need no stinking badges.
Roller Nannies? Yeah. Got the delivery here for your next show?
Oh, great. What you got?
Well, let's see. I got 1 aardvark, 1 flamingo, 4 porcupines, 2 armadillos, 3 badgers.
Badgers? Badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers!
Jason.
Yeah.
Badges? I don't need no stinking badges.
Badger. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Well, that's pretty awesome, Nicholas.
I know.
And screw you, Dave Scott.
Yeah, he's fired.
Yeah.
And,
He's, of course, never doing this again.
That's right.
So I'm happy about that.
Cool. That's great. Very cool.
That is great.
So,
I'm jealous. All right.
Well, good night, everybody. That felt like a show right there, didn't it?
That did feel like a show.
That's a show.
Yeah. All right. So, skip or play, Dress to Kill. So let's do it. Room service. Da-da-da-da. Who's going first?
Nicholas, you go.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love Room Service. Room Service is sort of everything Paul Stanley's about, you know. So I'm taking my record over so I can see what songs are on there. I absolutely love the way this starts. It's got it like this. This is kind of this and a couple of other ones which I'll mention later. Is Kiss Distilled. If you kind of want to go, well, what's Kiss? And most people might know Beth, or they might know I Was Made for Loving You. If you actually show them Room Service, yeah, well, this is actually closer to what the Kiss that we love and the Kiss that, you know, this is this era where they don't sound like anyone else. They sound like Kiss. There's not anyone else that sounds like Room Service. This is, you know, Paul Stanley's kind of, you know, getting girls in. It does make me. I did laugh at Room Service because it makes me think of Uncle Leo on Seinfeld talking about, didn't I send for an Asian lady? You know, that kind of when Elaine turns up at the door or something. But yeah, I do. It's very. If you were to analyze like this whole album, if you analyze the lyrics in a different way, it'd be all very silly. But there's something innocent and sung from the point of a 20-year-old, you know, and it's, I absolutely love it. This is play every day of the week.
Also for me, what I'll say about it is it almost is the first time that Paul Stanley really has that wild, raucous swagger on a record. You know, even like in Strutter and other songs that have the same kind of typical, you know, the same kind of content, he seems kind of staid and almost like, oh God, I'm in the studio and I'm singing. And this one just seems like a wild rock star, and you can see the kind of blossoming of the legendary frontman that he became. Even the vocal acrobatics, you know, you can start to hear a little bit more where he's pushing his voice, and you know, he's going from raspy to, you know, kind of a straight up vocal. It's very interesting. All that being said, it's okay for me. I wouldn't say that it's a skip necessarily. However, this is pretty straight. This is like straight ahead rock and roll fare for me, and it's kind of boring. I like the chorus, but the verse to me is, this is like Let Me Go Rock and Roll, and I'm not a fan of Let Me Go Rock and Roll. Not to
You are fired.
Not to jump around to a different record, but to me this is like kind of straight ahead, kind of boring rock and roll, kind of by the books, other than the Paul Stanley swagger. And I do agree, this is where they start to sound like Kiss and all that stuff. So I agree with you.
He became the character. This is almost like him in character in some ways. You
Absolutely.
know, they all sort of, you know, Gene became the cookie monster, almost human. This is Paul Stanley becoming the star child or the lover character at this time versus just him singing before this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say, as much as I like it, and I do like it, skip.
Oh my God!
See, when you were just like throwing skips willy nilly for Peter Criss, I was going, oh yeah, whatever. But it was like, this one actually hurts.
Nicholas, you have to tell everybody what you told me about the Peter Criss record. What's happened to you since Skip or Play? If you want to share. If you don't want to share, you don't have to.
I was sort of kind of listening halfway through the episode because he's kind of like seeping into my brain. So I played it 2 times, I played it 2 times in my in the room, and I was going, this is actually quite a cool album. And then Joe's voice was just there during the episode, and by the end I was going, this record sucks. So I go, oh, he's in my brain, he's in my head, kind of thing. Yeah.
You've got to get away from this guy.
After that episode, I actually liked it less, which is strange. I'm not normally as influenced by other people, but yeah, his harsh reviews were kind of making me reassess it, and I was going, I don't know.
What you guys don't know is I literally am the devil that sits on your shoulder. And is like, this song sucks. I don't care what kind of nostalgia.
Skip it.
It's clear. If he skips Room Service, then he has to not like 75% of the catalog.
Well, that's not true. And here's the thing, this is obviously it's a binary choice, right? And we've talked about we can have a nuanced discussion about these songs. I would sing along to Room Service. It's not a bad song. It's just not one that I'm like, oh, I got to go back to. This is an amazing song. It's fine. It's good. I skip
it's
it.
fine.
I could skip it and it wouldn't bug me. How's that?
Okay, well, you know, a little bit more about the song and the parts of the song. It has a really, really, really killer harmonized lead break in it that I think is just amazing. It's killer. It's melodic. It's, you know, it's a song within itself, you know, and, you know, the drumming in it is, I'm not particularly, you know, I don't throw out a lot of compliments to Peter's drumming a lot, but early on, you know, he was pretty great. And the drumming on this, I mean, clearly the drumming on Dress to Kill is Peter's best drumming. Save a couple of songs, maybe on, you know, the side 4 of Alive 2, you know, but
the whole band really feels like they start to become that raucous, almost coming off the rails. Even the drumming here seems really aggressive and confident and
right. It really has, you know, it's really more akin to their live sound. It really sounds like they set up and kicked out a record in 10 days, which I believe they did. And
it sounds like them. That's what I'm saying. It's only Kiss. No other piece of recorded music sounds like this record. It's them, you know.
Yeah.
They were clearly rushed. They're pulling tracks from, you know, previous years, from previous bands. The songs that they're putting together are quickly put together, quickly structured, verse chorus, solo out. You know, there's nothing else on it. It's going to be, as hard as it is for me to skip songs on any Kiss record, I don't think I could. It'd be very difficult for me to skip any song on this record. That, you know, that being said, no way do I skip Room Service. It's absolutely a play, and one of the better songs on the record for me personally.
And it is, as I'm looking at the timing here, so, you know, they're rushed. They're careening, all that stuff. The whole record is, like we talked about, it's 30 minutes long. And this is one of the only songs to break 3 minutes on the record.
Right.
And I think it actually hits the 3-minute mark almost exactly.
Yeah, 301.
Yep.
And she is long. No, let's see, in Rock Bottom.
She and Rock Bottom. Other than that, everything is, it's like a Ramones record, you know?
Yep.
2 minutes, 30 seconds and out.
Play for me. 2-timer. Nicholas?
2-timer. Yeah, this is obviously then followed. This is where I always feel that this is almost like very much like a Beatles record, you know, a Paul song, a John song, a Paul song, a John song kind of thing. And yeah, this is almost like the counter voice to the Paul song. You know, this is Gene sort of becoming who he is. You know, it's got that sort of, you know, a bit more of the, you know, the hip swagger and the playing of 2-timer, you know, it's you know, I mean the lyrics again are, you know, in 2020 it's like so you've been to the market and the meat looks good tonight.
Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
It's slightly questionable in, you know. It's a bit of locker room talk, of course, but you know, it's like, but if you look at it at the age again, and sort of, I always take Kiss lyrics as though they're playing characters. So the same way as Paul's playing that lover bravado character, and Gene's playing a demon. You know, I'll take you backstage for a bit of dirty time kind of thing. It works with the character he's playing, and the fact that he's a demon and Paul's a star child is that same kind of. These lyrics are fine because they are characters in some ways. Are Kiss ever singing real songs until they get later on? You go, now at this point they're becoming, you know, they're moving towards Gene doing Almost Human and, you know, Paul doing I Want You. They're almost moving in their character development. And yeah, this is another one. Another thing I always think about this song is you really hear it. I don't know if you remember that record called Classic 78. There was those guys that came out and did songs in that old style. And I remember he came on 3 Sides and said the way that he got the classic Kiss sound was you had the lead vocalist, and when they did the backing vocals, sometimes it was the other member. So if it's a Paul song, you'll hear Gene very prominently doing the backing vocal, And in a Gene song, you hear Paul very prominently doing a backing vocal, and same as in when Peter sings, it's Gene and Paul together. And that all went out the window in the 80s when they did the gang vocals. So you go to do your vocals and all four of you stand there and you get that big 80s sound. But there's something a bit magical about hearing, in two-timer and in room service, you hear the other member sort of almost echoing back in on a chorus line. And I really, there's, again, something magical about it being early Kiss. This one is quite a slow one, but I like it. And I don't know. This is probably out of all of them one of my least favorite, but I just can't skip it either. So it's because it's the answer to Paul. It's the Gene now coming in to say this is my character. It's going to be a play, but still not my favorite on the album.
It's interesting because it starts off heavy, right? Those first chords and notes are heavy, and then it slips back into we're not going to be a heavy metal band. We're going to be a rock and roll band kind of thing, during the chorus. But then it's, so it's interesting to dissect it and look at it that way. That being said, I'm gonna play Two Timer. I like this one. I like it. Not that I didn't like Room Service, but if we're having the discussion of skip or play, I like Two Timer. I think it's cool.
I am going to be diplomatic, and I will skip at least one song on the record. So, but it will not be Two Timer because I do love Two Timer, and it's interesting that you brought up the backing vocals because that's what I love most about this. Is even in the pre-chorus and through the chorus, I love the layered harmonies. They really are top notch all the way through, and I think it's a well-written melodic song, so I played that one for sure.
Can we take a cut here? I just need to go to the toilet.
Nope.
I'll be back. Okay. Talk amongst yourself.
Our sixth visit. Indeed, it is for all the people who will be able to share in the celebration, especially exciting, will be the Queen's public appearances. We also would like to...
Whoops. Uh-oh.
Ladies in Waiting. Nicholas?
So you've been to the market.
Ladies in Waiting. Yeah, did I just actually... I think I just actually quoted the wrong lyrics for the wrong song before when I was talking about Two Timer, and I was actually quoting the lyrics from Lady in Waiting. Yeah. Those and this is to my point. Those two are a bit synonymous. They're a bit interchangeable.
They're of a kind for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and they sound very similar. But again, like I love the choruses. Ladies in Waiting. Yeah. Don't have much to say about this one because I get mixed up between the two of them. Clearly,
these guys don't.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I like any of the Gene songs from this era. So yeah, this is another play. I don't have much to say, but it's definitely a play. So yeah, good.
Yeah. That's what I have to say about this one. It's alright. I listened to it. It's cool because original Kiss is cool. But if it went away, it wouldn't bug me. Skip.
Okay, so I'm not skipping this song, but if I was ranking the songs, this would be towards the bottom of this album.
For sure. For me too.
But it's not my skip song, for sure. I do enjoy it. I loved it when they played it live. There's a nice Pro Shot version. And... from '76, and I do enjoy the song, so it's a play for me.
We breezed through that one.
Getaway.
Yep, breezed through it. Pardon me as I plug up Mac because the battery is dying.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Next up. What's next?
Getaway.
Can I just say, you can edit this bit out, but my call recorder's back to 3 minutes again. So it's obviously still recording, but it's obviously chopping up these files. So hopefully Joe's got a continuous one.
I've got an hour and 10 right now going. So
mine's got back to 3 minutes 39, and I think it happened when I unplugged the headphones.
Yep.
Take them off. Something's disconnecting it.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, back. Getaway. Yeah.
Getaway.
The fourth song on the record, Getaway, Nicholas.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously the Peter vocal one on back then. Ace wasn't singing his own songs, and you've got Peter Criss doing this one. I really like it, and my favourite bit, I think I've said it on when we were talking about the Peter Criss and this solo record, and some of the failings between it is because the little bits that I really liked was when his vocals got to the to that breaking point. He has that great scream, and you've got this kind of pretty steady, normal kind of Ace kind of song, and then you get those chords change, that dung 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 near the end. I gotta get away, and he does that get away, and his voice just breaks, and that's ultimate Peter Criss singing for me. And again, like I said before, Gene and Paul, you can picture them up to the mic together singing the backing vocals. Peter's voice is just screaming its head off, and I absolutely love it. But it isn't really until I get to that end bit that I love it so much. I mean, the lyrics are a little bit Dr. Seuss for me. That, I know I have to go, got no dough, should I stay or should I go? Got to get away, don't want to stay, leaving tomorrow by subway. It's like it's a little bit Dr. Seuss lyrics, but it doesn't really matter because it's a cool little rock song. This one would possibly fall into the skip realm, but that end bit just redeems it for me and it gets a play. So I'm just all plays so far. I'm basically Jason Herndon on every other record.
Playing Jason Herndon on this episode of he's the stand-in.
That's why I grew a beard.
Getaway. No, not for me. It's just not for me. It's another straight ahead kind of boring rock song. We've talked about it before. I do enjoy Peter's voice. I think that rock scream that he has it's just killer. Not for me. I probably would very well skip this one if I was in a car and sort of barreling along and this one comes up. I'd hit skip. So skip for me, please.
Yeah, this is definitely. Unless I change my mind later on, this is definitely my skip. While I do like the song, and if I put the record on and play it from beginning to end, I probably wouldn't skip it. If I was, had Spotify open in the car and it was going through songs, and I would, and it landed on Getaway, I might skip past Getaway. But I do love.
If I had no arms and no legs, I was
bound. If it was between 47 and 48 degrees.
It has to be the perfect situation.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if we were moving and we were about to move the turntable, and before the movers were taking it, and this song were on, I might skip it, maybe.
I do love the end of the song, where Peter is screaming, and I love the background vocals, and you can really hear Gene's very prominent in it, and the guitar playing is killer. The solo is so good. The solos on all of these songs, while short and sweet, are all so good, so well thought out.
This is premium Ace Frehley.
Right, premium Ace Frehley, premium Peter Criss. They both shine on the record, but it's a little corny, a little too corny. So I'll skip this one.
And it's another one of those barrel straight ahead, simple rock songs again. There's no real hook or groove to me. It just barrels forward, and I don't know.
Oh, Gene's bass line playing.
Dude, I was just fixing to say that.
Yeah, that kind of doom 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 doom. Like he's playing up really, really high, but he's also playing up high on the fretboard in the verses, which is just something which is, you don't sort of associate with the later Gene, but in this early where he's doing a lot of Beatles stuff, he's actually playing up what sounds like the 7th and 9th fret, and he's kind of going under that verse line. And I love his bass playing. I mean, his bass playing across this album. He's talking about premium Peter Criss and Ace. This is premium Gene with his
really is
kind of moving bass lines and stuff like that.
That's the thing about those first three records for sure, is that Gene wrote all of those incredibly moving, walking bass lines that were so cool and so Beatles, so Paul McCartney-esque. I think he's brilliant on it. So, but anyway, skip that song. What's up next?
Rock Bottom.
Rock Bottom.
Yeah, this is a weird one, and I think I've told this story before, that Double Platinum was my first album. So the first Kiss stuff. So Rock Bottom always, in my brain, I'm always waiting for She to come in after that Rock Bottom intro. I'm always waiting for it to ding ding, in like that, and it suddenly goes into this other song. They're two really separate songs, aren't they? You've got Ace's instrumental track, and then you've got Rock Bottom, which is pretty much a very similar song to Room Service or anything like that. I liked it on the Unplugged, where he said, "Now it's going to get dirty." So that was quite.
Now it's going to get rough. Yeah.
Now it gets rough.
Yeah.
Now it gets rough.
It almost worked better as an acoustic song on Unplugged. I almost prefer the Unplugged version than I do this version. But yeah, it's
the same way with Coming Home.
This may be my first skip.
Oh God! If we were in the same room, we'd fight right now.
I don't even understand.
So the only thing I'll say about this song, in any sort of negative way, or anything negative about it, is the acoustic intro to me is a slight bit long. That's the only thing I'll say about it, because my God, when it ends and they crank into the full bombast, it's like Kiss becoming what everybody loves about Kiss. And we've talked about, did Alive make the band? Did Rock and Roll All Night make the band? Like, at what point did the band become the band? And to me, on this record, you see them finally realizing who they are musically as these four guys, rather than kind of feeling it out in the studio and trying to figure it out. To me, this is like the full Kiss bombast. It's almost like the beginning of one of their shows where they've dropped the curtain, and that's this is that sort of intro on the acoustic bit, and man, then the curtain drops and the flash pots go off and the fireworks go off and the song starts. I just think it's absolutely as good as it gets.
It could have made a great opener, couldn't it? If they actually had the curtains up and you play this over they don't need to actually perform this, but you pump that over the speaker system, and then it just goes bang, like I can't, straight into it.
Yeah,
and I think there is an instance where they did open with Rock Bottom at least one time. I think, if I'm not misremembering, I do think early on they opened with Rock Bottom. Somewhere along the way. Absolutely brilliant song from beginning to end. The Unplugged version and Paul Stanley is unbelievable. I love this song. Definitely in my top 20 favorite Kiss songs for sure. I don't know if it'd make the top 10, but definitely top 20 favorite Kiss songs. There's no way I skipped this song.
And an interesting little side bit, I was listening to Motley Crue's Shout at the Devil the other day, and God Bless the Children of the Beast. It's the twin of this song, sort of. It's like, oh, what did Kiss do? So let's put this bit in here, and it's interesting.
Agreed.
You can kind of tie those two together, and it never really hit me.
I mean,
until the end of
Sabbath were doing that. Sabbath were doing that too in a different way, weren't they? They always had those kind of weird sort of acousticy bits before some of their heavier songs too.
Yeah, but I mean,
it was very much a sign.
But God bless the children of the beast, not from a technique standpoint, but that almost sounds like a lift, of the beginning of Rock Bottom.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Come on and love me.
Come on and love me, Nicholas.
Yeah, well, this is the one that this one has a video, obviously, and it's the classic kind of a live stage and that, and we'll show a little bit of it here, but I'll show it right now, and actually, I'll tell you first before we show it, because have a look at what Peter's doing. It's like everyone's playing "Come On and Love Me," and Peter's playing something totally different. He's not in time with the music at all, and I thought, maybe
it's playing Wipeout
issue. And I don't know, maybe it's a syncing issue, but they're all playing in time, and Peter's doing something something totally different on the drums. We'll show a little bit here. And you'll see what I mean there.
You're just waiting for the Spinal Tap explosion.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But this is another one interesting, and there's a few times on this record where the acoustic guitar backs a lead guitar, and you can really hear it in "Come On and Love Me." There's an acoustic guitar playing that rhythm, and that's just it's a very 70s thing, and it went out the window. But that's another element to classic Kiss, that backing vocals and a little bit of acoustic guitar under the main line can also. They did it a little bit later on Love Gun on some of those songs. Really nice song.
It feels like vestiges of Wicked Lester still holding on to the band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels like that late 60s, very early 70s influence. Like, don't forget the acoustic, because it's so high in the mix. It's not just adding, color. It's like very prominent in the mix, and it's,
Like I did feel like the lyrics I felt are very. This is very where you get into classic Paul, where it's almost like you go, they're so ridiculous, but Paul Stanley can get away with it. You almost go like I think we were talking about in a private chat about the end of God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
You were
given a road, and it's quite ridiculous. But you go, when Paul Stanley does it, I never sat there and went, "This is ridiculous." But if anyone else sung those lyrics, I would say that's ridiculous. And she's a dancer, romancer. I'm a Capricorn. She's a Cancer. You're only one step away from she's singing the next line. She's experiencing Mercury retrograde, and her moon is in the 7th house of Saturn. Or something like that. It's getting a bit.
You write that song.
Yeah, exactly.
If the Darkness did any of this stuff, we would laugh at it and think that they were doing a parody.
They were being parodied, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And my favorite line of all is, "You're good looking, and you're looking like you should be good."
It's so good. It's such a great turn of phrase. It's great.
It's great. But it does. Yeah. But it does remind me of Austin Powers when he slips up and goes, "Please allow myself to introduce myself."
Allow myself to introduce myself.
He kind of gives that. I fucked this thing up. She's good looking and she's looking like it should be good. But But anyway, I like this one. This is their attempt at a single. You can tell that Neil Bogart, who took over production of this because he wanted a couple of singles, I don't know, there's something about it. You can tell "Come On, Love Me," and later we'll get to "A Rock and Roll All Night" is a real attempt at a single, and it feels like that. And I don't know why. It feels far more poppier and far more melodic and sing along than anything else. So,
it's interesting that you say that this one sounds like a single. The Apple Music write-up on this says each song sounds like a potential hit single, from the Stones-like shuffles of "Ladies in Waiting" and "Getaway" to the sing-along choruses of "Come On and Love Me," "Anything for My Baby," "Love Her All I Can," and obviously "Rock and Roll All Night." So it also does sound like a band that's really trying to hit that home run and really get the public at large's attention.
Nicholas, did you skip or play it? The whole point of the show.
Yes, exactly. No, that's a play. It's a play.
Yeah, to me, "Come On and Love Me" is absolutely as good as it gets as a Kiss song. I mean, if you can take, nearer and mirror in a lyric and make those work. That's absolute rock and roll perfection. And it's kind of sly in a way. It's like, the whole "come on and love me," and he's talking about this person that maybe his dream girl or whatever. I just think it's really cool without being over the top and cheesy. And I know you were saying, Nicholas, that you thought maybe it became a little corny or something, but I feel like it hits that perfect sweet spot of what a rock song should be. And I think it's absolutely as good as it gets in the Kiss catalog.
That's right.
I play it every single time. I think it's great.
Jason?
Play. Well, what the hell else am I going to say about it? Next time I'm going first.
Yeah. And why?
Breaks down every line of the song. What else can you add to that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely a play for me, for sure. So I love it. I love the double lead between Paul and Ace at the beginning of the song. That whole thing where Paul is finally playing. Well, I don't guess Ace plays in the beginning, but where Paul is finally playing some lead guitar. Because he always said, he wasn't a lead guitar player, but I think he comes up with some tasty lines that are very melodic, and I love that song. So the stop with the "Come on and love me" lyric, so killer.
And you can almost you can almost in your head you can time the flash pots to the song. The flame, like it's a Kiss song. Like it's got all those moments of hitting the right notes, the stops, the starts, the big bombast. It's great for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's that great stop, and then it's "come on and love me," and then back in again. It is perfectly timed, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. God.
No. Anything for my baby.
Anything for my baby.
Oh, I don't miss one. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I should just look there.
You should just look at the record.
Yeah, exactly. Anything for my baby. Yeah. This does seem like Rock and Roll All Night Part 2 or Part 1 possibly. But I listened to this one earlier. I love it. It's great. But there was nothing in it that stood out for me to comment on other than I enjoyed it very much. That's the most boring answer, but there was nothing that stood out about it to make it either bad or good. It was just enjoyable. Yeah. Don't much to say about that one.
Go, Jason. Do it.
It's a play. Yeah.
Why are we reversing back to me?
Because you just complained about how we take all your thunder.
I was joking, totally joking. So I love the song, and that whole comparison to Rock and Roll Night's really interesting because when those when the demos or maybe pre-production stuff come out and it had Rock and Roll All Night, I think those circulate, and Anything for My Baby. Both of them start with the floor tom beat. It sounds like the same song.
Yeah. Anything for my baby. Anything for my baby. I would give anything for my baby.
It struck me today when I listened to the record again. I quickly went in and sampled everything just to kind of like get a refresher taste. And it's amazing that beginning of the floor tom. They sound like the same song.
Sound like the same song. That being said,
maybe Peter didn't want to do another one. Maybe Peter was like, "Oh, fuck you guys! I'm not doing another one."
Yeah. But that being said, it completely, verse wise, it's separately separate from Rock and Roll All Night, and but I love the chord progression in the verse very much. In fact, I love the verses more than I love the chorus. Although I love the kind of the paradiddle, drum playing verses very well too. That
it's kind of like that beat up, build up, everything. That kind of
right. But I love the verses of this song and love the way they're melodically constructed. And this song is definitely a play for me. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I love the. This again is Paul Stanley becoming the penultimate rock star with that screaming and begging at the end. Like I'll do any. And it's his voice is breaking and he's just screaming and yelling. It's like he's got so much confidence on this record that you don't really hear much in those first couple of records. You know, he's very reserved, I feel, relative to his vocal abilities on those first two records. I think this is great. I think this is another great Kiss song. To me, it doesn't match the quality, or I don't like it as much as Rock Bottom or Come On and Love Me, but yeah, it's a great. I think these are three great songs in a row.
I agree.
To what you were saying, Joe, do you think it's because, I think at the time, was it Peter was like 26 and Paul was like only 19? Do you think it just took a lot longer as Paul's kind of first band for him to just get into that confidence, whereas, you know, Peter, as you know, straight from the start, like his, you know, vocals were great, you know, but he had been in bands forever, playing in clubs night after night, and, you know, probably had a good 10 years on Paul, so it probably took Paul a lot longer to get the confidence as to what his singing voice even was. You know,
absolutely.
Peter had perfected it for years, you know.
What a lot of people don't realize about Peter, if you're not, you know, an avid bootleg collector or anything, is that very early on, Peter spoke to the crowd. Peter talked to the crowd more than Paul talked to the crowd. So it was very, you know, he's kind of like the elder statesman up there. Like you were talking about, 25, 26 years old, 5, 6 years older than these kids that are, you know, he's in the band with. And so he kind of definitely had that confidence that the others didn't have, you know, for the came experience for sure. So, and cockiness.
As good as those first couple of records were, it's almost like you can imagine Paul Stanley being in the studio and finishing singing and going to the engineer and the producer. Is that any good? What do you guys think? And on this record, he's like, he just wails from the beginning.
I know this is good. Yeah.
And the producers and engineer, everybody knows that it's great, and he's like, I know it's great, you know it's great, let's go. You know. So, way different level of confidence.
Right. She
Walks by Moonlight. Yeah, I mean, we can't do this one without inserting here the original flute solo Wicked Lester version.
Yeah, but I know you're going to anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, this is obviously Gene and Stephen Coronel's, you know, track. You know, obviously he's got some interesting moments in history recently, including his changing of the band name to Wicked Molester. But
oh my god, oh my god.
But this song always came after, as I mentioned before. Like this song to me was always linked to Rock Bottom, so it's weird to hear it by itself. But the thing that always struck me is how many parts in this thing is. Like I think I remember learning this one on guitar, and there's a whole lot of. It reminds me of a Sabbath song. It's like you've got an abundance of riffs, and we're going to have these all in the one song, because they keep doing different parts in this song. Really, this is actually, people say Kiss can't play their instruments. I don't know. I disagree on this one, because there's some really good riffery that would be, you know, it doesn't sound like Sabbath, but it certainly has the plethora of different riffs and different backwards ways of playing those same kind of parts. You know, an Ace borrowing the guitar solo from the Doors 5 to 1, and you know, Pearl Jam, and then Pearl Jam later borrowed it for Alive, you know. So yeah. Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving. But yeah, this one is definitely play, but this one doesn't really. If you really think about it, this one doesn't sound that much like Kiss. Probably She and 100,000 Years almost seem like a slightly different band. I don't know if you guys agree on that.
So the rest of the record to me, in a lot of respects, is very bright and bouncy, and this is like a very plodding, dark, different type of tune. And I feel like it belonged more on Hotter Than Hell as a group of songs. Like it felt like it belongs over there. And actually, sometimes you want to put what record is it on, and that kind of thing. It's like it feels
coming home comes to Hotter Than Hell. She goes to I get it.
Exactly right. Yeah, because it doesn't feel like of a piece. This one kind of feels like it's tacked on, and then also kind of where it falls. Like it feels like maybe it should have been an end song because it's so different. Like we're going to end this with a different kind of thing or something. I think it's all right. I mean, here's the thing. I like the song. I think it's a show killer live. just an absolute. It's just so plodding and slow, and it just you know. And there's never really been any like show gags that go along with it. It just is a slow kind of plodding thing live. I like it. I think it's a great song. It's super riffy, huge groove, very cool and dark, and but yeah, I think it's a show killer live. But that being said, I will play it.
You will play.
I'll give it a tepid play.
A tepid play. It's funny that you don't like anything about the Wicked Lester version. I know the flute is silly and all of that kind of stuff, but you know, the layering of the harmonies in the Wicked Lester version is magnificent to me, and I love that they kept some of that here. They stripped it back, but there's still harmony through, you know, Paul and Gene singing this song together. And I love that about the song. And
is it just Paul and Gene, or is it Paul, Gene, and Peter doing the lead?
It probably is Paul, Gene, and Peter.
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering who it is. You know, is it three of them, or is it just two of them?
Yeah. Well, I think when you listen to it live, you know, Peter is definitely there. He's absolutely singing all the way through it. It really is all three of them singing, and you can definitely tell that they tried to keep some of that integrity of the original recording of those layered harmonies all the way through the song, you know, which I love. I think is great. And solo is incredible. I don't disagree with your point, Joe, about it being kind of plotting and maybe slows down a show for sure. I definitely agree with that. But I don't know. I just have so many fond memories of listening to this song. I just love it. So I play it. Absolutely play it.
Love her all I can, Nicholas.
This one for me.
Oh boy.
Oh.
No.
How much are plane tickets to Australia so you and I can fight? We're gonna go out into the backyard.
No, it's the opposite of what you think I'm going to say. Or what I was going to say is if ever somebody said Wicked Lester had a record contract, why did you break up and stop this band? If you put on the Wicked Lester version of Love I Can, and then put on the Kiss one, you'll go, this is the exact reason why they trashed this band, jumped into Kiss, because Love Her All I Can is my favorite song of any Kiss song, because this is distilled the most perfect Kiss you can ever get. This is 100 out of 10 for me. If ever I wanted to say, what does Kiss sound like? I'd play them this song. It just bolts straight out of the gate with energy. It's amazing. Like Ace's solo is just like, it's like he's on fire when he just comes out of that solo. And then it gets to Peter's drumming. Like Peter does those little kind of drum fills. And then he just keeps doing that kind of almost like a drum part through while there's some singing. He just keeps playing. And this is incredible. Every part of this, I listen to this all the time. And it's just, there's electricity in the room. And this is Kiss for me. There is no other Kiss, but this Kiss is the perfect Kiss for me. I 100% love it. And this is my favorite song in the whole catalog.
Wow.
I won't say it's my favorite song in the catalog, although that's almost an impossible chore for me. However, this thing kicks ass. I think it's absolutely, again, as good as Kiss gets. It's got all those parts. It's got the drum breakdown. It's got the frenetic guitar solo where Ace is showing off his straight-up chops. Paul sounds great. It's that raucous, off-the-rails thing that we've talked about where Peter almost wants to knock over his drum kit because he's playing so wildly. And it's like that moment in black and white history. You know, it's like that's what sums us up. The flash pot's going off, and these guys are just getting after it. And I think it's kind of like punk rock. It's raucous, and it's just as good as it gets. Play.
Yeah.
Jason skips it. No, he doesn't.
No, I'm just kidding. This song, while I can't say it's my favorite song in the catalog, absolutely top 10, probably in that 5-6 range. It's a perfectly constructed song. On top of everything you said, Joe, the harmonies in this song are amazing. It works probably even better as an acoustic song with Paul, Gene, and Eric singing. And it is the highlight of MTV Unplugged, in my opinion. And or those unplugged shows anyway.
Yeah.
Those unplugged shows.
Yeah, I don't think it's
so. I don't think it was on MTV Unplugged, but on those unplugged shows where they're doing their harmonies, I love the harmonies in the song. It's another reason why wherever Nicholas is saying, they broke up Wicked Lester and this is how it should be. I still love the harmonies in the Wicked Lester version of it. I love to
which we'll play a little bit now.
Yeah. I'd love to hear Paul and Gene sing together like that, man. It's amazing.
Well, that's also a hallmark of original Kiss, right? Gene and Paul together, that's what made the band so cool. They all had their gifts and abilities, and they blended them together just perfectly. So yeah, hallmark.
Absolutely.
I mean, and even the way that riff moves, there's something about it which it's very hard not to start moving like Gene. That doom 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 doom. You almost want to kind of almost be thrusting the crotch, and it's very hard not to actually start behaving like them to that song.
It's very groovy.
It's something about that riff.
Yeah, it's very groovy and heavy all at the same time. It's great.
Yeah, I agree.
You could almost hear them kind of noodling this song out and going, "Oh, we've got something here. Like this is, what if you did this part here and it becomes that awesome riff,
Yep. So play for all of us. Oh, and here we go, guys. So you have to remove yourself from how many times you've heard this song.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Rock and Roll?
Yeah, I mean, this is Kiss distilled in a bottle. Again, if you'd only heard it a couple of times, it's been absolutely fantastic. I do prefer the live version better because it puts Ace's solo in. Because Ace's solo is the thing that just makes that live version of it so incredible. A couple of the other versions are interesting. My first version that I ever heard again was the double platinum version. Most people think that that's not very different, but have a listen to that one. After this episode's over, or if you just don't want to hear what Joe and Jason have to say about, listen to it now. Stop now and just watch that. But it's got a pump. It's got a pumping bass line. They've done something to the bass and they've pumped it up. It's not the funkiest version, but it's certainly very bass heavy. And I always remember that version. And then remembering how absolutely crap the Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits version was when they somehow removed Peter's tom drum and it's just going.
Well, they run it. They run it through a sequencer, and as they did all the drums, but the bass line on Smashes is different as well.
It's different, it does something different.
It's a different line. It's a different line. It's almost like he went in and re-recorded a bass line for it.
It'd be interesting to see if they ever did like a classic albums thing on Dress to Kill, whether that actual bass line is on the track and they just had a choice of both bass lines to use.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
But again, Gene's vocals with Paul's vocals and that moving bass line is again another perfect classic Gene, and it's sing-along and it's a hit single, and there's a reason why it's played at every single concert. You might be slightly bored of it the same way as a Zeppelin fan might be bored of Stairway to Heaven, the Queen fan bored of Bohemian Rhapsody, but it's one of their biggest songs for a reason. It's a great song, and it's another play for me.
With those three songs you just talked about, how people get bored with, you could be bored with them. Here's the interesting part, though. I think it's really hard not to sing along to Bohemian Rhapsody. It's really hard not to sing along with Rock and Roll All Night. Like, there's something about, when you hear Back in Black, those first, like, it always works. Somehow, on some level, it always works. And almost inarguably, it's the song that launched a million anthems. This is the one that's raise your fist and shout, and I'm one of you, and you're one of us, and this is the Pledge of Allegiance, like Paul says, and it just is. It's what Kiss became from here on out.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to think. Was there anything quite like that in the catalog of music that was quite like that anthem, and anthemic from any band? I mean, arguably, the Beatles probably have a few things out there, Hey Jude, but it's not quite,
Yeah, Maybe some of those Slade tracks.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, feel the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So, yeah, but
not many. There weren't many, definitely. You're right. There weren't many of those kind of call to rally kind of songs.
Right. And it's interesting that you prefer the live version, Nicholas, because I was actually going to make part of my commentary that I prefer the studio version. I think most everybody prefers the live version, and I do love Ace's solo in it. But what I love about listening to the song, the studio version of the song, is it's very dry, and you can hear every instrument played. It's crystal clear, and the bass line in this song is incredible. It's incredible, and you don't get to hear that. It's not as big of a component when you're listening to it live. It's
maybe I just wish they could take the guitar solo and shove it into the studio version. The studio version would be interesting to hear. Better, but it'd be cool if there was that version existed.
Yeah, I agree. But absolutely a play for me. I love it. So
play for me too,
I would skip the live version before I would skip the studio version for me personally. So that's it.
There you have it.
Skip or play, Just to Kill.
Yeah. I had a couple of extra very last things because I have the Dress to Kill press kit here to show. So it's a little bit of extra stuff, which I don't have everything in it. Again, not all of mine are complete. One day I got the sticker and I got the little press thing here on them, which is printed in a lovely black and yellow, but
What else belongs in that press kit?
Well, from memory, it's the 8x10s, the photos. So I don't have those two yet. So if anyone wants to send me Dave Scott style them for free, that'd be great. And the other thing I brought for another show and tell from this album is two things from my trade ads. The trade ad poster from Billboard, that one, and then also the Japanese version as well, which I've got. So that's two nice little extra things that I booked for show and tell.
The actual promo poster of that exact same ad just sold today for a little over $800 on eBay, which is about a steal because it's about a $1,200 poster.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough one to find.
Tough one to find for sure. So, some of that stuff I just almost think I won't ever have. The first album promo poster, that the Destroyer mobile,
Yeah. I can't see myself ever paying $1,000 for a poster anymore at this point in my life. So there are a few things I might have to let go of. Not for one poster. I don't. $1,000 is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get to the point where you have all the quote unquote common posters, all of those posters are $3,000 and up.
Yeah. Exactly.
All those promos and stuff. It's impossible.
I mean, there's always deals that you get where someone's found something, they're only offering it to you, and you always sometimes find those things, and then I pass them along to everyone except for you guys if I don't want them.
Clearly.
Or Dave Scott if Nicholas doesn't want it, straight to eBay. Yeah, that's great. .au.
Don't bother about offering it to the other guys. No, but you know what I mean. Like, $1,000 is a lot of money, and I don't know. If I won the lottery, I'd probably start buying that stuff. But I can't see myself with my current wage and family situation to be able to afford $1,000 posters anymore.
You just need to sell more
anymore. I've never been able to afford them, but sorry, gotta sell more books. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if somebody wants to order 1,000 copies,
or write more books.
Or write more books. Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. You have to write more books.
All right. Yeah, that's it, right?
Cool. That's great.
Anybody got any final words? No.
That's it.
All right. Well, we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast.